The enigma, echoes in the abyss. Before we plunge into the abyss of forgotten history, let me ask you something. When you hear whispers of lost civilizations, what comes to mind? Do you see Atlantis, swallowed by the ocean's wrath? Or perhaps El Dorado, its golden streets shimmering in the depths of the Amazon? Maybe you dismiss these as fairy tales, figments of human imagination. But what if they weren't? What if history, as we know it, is missing entire civilizations, not by accident, but by design? For thousands of years, history has been laced with echoes of lost empires, kingdoms that rose to unimaginable power, only to vanish without a trace. We know the names: Atlantis, Lemuria, El Dorado. But tonight, we're venturing deeper, beyond the legends everyone has heard, into a mystery almost no one speaks of. A civilization erased so thoroughly that even its name is but a whisper in the void. Aethelgard. Aethelgard is not in textbooks. It is not on any map. It is a ghost in the annals of time. A name erased with such precision that its absence is almost intentional. Unlike Rome or Egypt, whose ruins still stand as proof of their grandeur, Aethelgard left nothing behind. No written history, no standing monuments, only scattered fragments, impossible myths, and one haunting question: was Aethelgard truly cursed? Imagine an island kingdom, a beacon of civilization, hidden in the uncharted waters of the Great Southern Sea, a society so advanced that its canals mirrored constellations, its architecture defied comprehension, and its trade routes stretched beyond the edges of our known world. Their writing, an undeciphered script of alien elegance. Their art, filled with veiled figures and celestial symbols, hinting at something beyond human understanding. And then, without warning, without a trace, silence. How does a thriving empire disappear overnight? Was it war? Famine? A natural disaster? Or was it something far more sinister? Something erased not just from the earth, but from history itself? Tonight, we begin the descent into the forgotten abyss of Aethelgard. But beware, some mysteries, once uncovered, can never be forgotten. The labyrinth, unraveling the veiled truth. If Aethelgard never existed, why do its echoes refuse to die? Why do scattered myths, suppressed records, and inexplicable ruins hint at something too big to ignore? And more disturbingly, why does everyone attempt to uncover its truth seem to vanish into silence? Few dare to ask these questions. Even fewer seek answers. But Dr. Eris Thorne is not like other historians. An outsider in his field, ridiculed by academia, he is obsessed with the ghosts of history, the civilizations that vanish so completely that even their absence feels engineered. Atlantis, Tartessos, the pre-Diluvian world. Yet among these, one enigma stands above the rest: Aethelgard. Thorne's research has led him to a terrifying realization. Aethelgard wasn't just another lost city swallowed by time. It was erased, not by war, not by natural disaster, but by something far more deliberate. He believes that its destruction wasn't an accident of history. It was a warning. But what crime could doom an entire civilization not just to destruction, but to absolute erasure? The more Thorne digs, the stranger the story becomes. Aethelgard was not simply an advanced society, it was a paradox, a civilization that should not have existed. Their canal systems, far from mere irrigation projects, were designed to mirror celestial constellations, their reflective surfaces aligning perfectly with star positions known only to astronomers thousands of years later. Their seafaring capabilities were not just advanced, but unnatural, their vessels described in ancient fragments as floating above the waves, unburdened by tide or storm. Their writing system, composed of fluid, interlocking symbols, defies classification, a language with no known relatives, no root connections, nothing to suggest it evolved alongside any other. It is as if Aethelgard came from nowhere. And then, there is their art, so distinct, so utterly alien in form, that it refuses to fit within the framework of known cultures. Every discovered relic bears the same haunting motifs: the sea, not as a tranquil force, but as something vast, sentient, and waiting. The stars, positioned in ways that challenge even modern celestial charts. And most disturbingly, the veiled goddess. Her name, lost to time, is whispered in fragments of oral tradition: Nyxandra. At first, she appears as a guardian, a protector, a divine keeper of knowledge. But later depictions shift. Her veiled form becomes rigid, cold, almost wrathful. The serene face of a benevolent deity morphs into something else: a warning, an omen. Legends among the surviving coastal tribes of the Great Southern Sea speak of a covenant, a sacred pact between the rulers of Aethelgard and the goddess of the abyss. In exchange for dominion over the oceans, knowledge beyond comprehension, and prosperity beyond measure, Aethelgard had one unbreakable law: never, under any circumstance, descend into the depths. For centuries, they obeyed. Their civilization thrived, their influence stretched beyond recorded lands. Their power grew. But power breeds arrogance. And arrogance breeds downfall. At some point, something changed. Later-era artifacts show a clear, disturbing shift. Art once centered on harmony with the sea becomes conquest-driven. The once reverent depictions of Nyxandra turn cold, resentful, almost defiant. Aethelgard, once the guardian of balance, became its violator. And then, suddenly, silence. No ruins, no texts, no survivors, nothing. A civilization that ruled the waves simply ceased to be. Thorne's research has led him to a forbidden hypothesis, one that terrifies even him. What if Aethelgard's sin was more than mere ecological destruction? What if, in their relentless pursuit of forbidden knowledge, they crossed a threshold, one that was never meant to be crossed? What if the abyss answered? Stay with us. The veil is thinning, and the truth that awaits beyond it is unlike anything you have ever imagined. Chapter 3. The Revelation. Echoes of the Curse. As the magnificent kingdom of Aethelgard relentlessly ascended to previously unimaginable pinnacles of power, wealth, and cultural influence, a treacherous, insidious seed of corrosive hubris began to germinate, then rapidly, virulently sprout within the very heart of their once harmonious society. Intoxicated, utterly seduced by their breathtaking technological advancements, their seemingly effortless mastery over the vast, enigmatic seas, the Aethelgardians, in their collective arrogance, began to tragically, irrevocably believe themselves to be somehow untouchable, elevated above the mundane constraints of natural law, transcending the ancient, sacred agreements and primordial pacts that had once so profoundly and wisely defined their civilization's relationship with the cosmos. Legends, preserved in hushed tones and cryptic verses, speak of them systematically exploiting the sea's seemingly inexhaustible resources with an avarice bordering on madness, recklessly depleting entire populations of marine life, poisoning delicate underwater ecosystems, and fundamentally disrupting the intricate, interconnected web of oceanic life in their insatiable, rapacious pursuit of ever greater wealth, ever-expanding territorial dominion, and ever more unfettered material expansion. But, chillingly, their transgression extended far beyond mere ecological devastation, plunging into the perilous, forbidden realm of esoteric, almost cosmically dangerous knowledge. Driven by an insatiable, almost manic thirst for absolute, comprehensive understanding of the fundamental workings of the universe itself, Aethelgardian scholars, mages, and philosopher-scientists, in their relentless intellectual and spiritual ambition, recklessly delved into arcane, forbidden arts and sciences, realms of knowledge and power that ancient wisdom had always cautioned, were best left respectfully, fearfully, undisturbed. They audaciously sought to unravel the deepest, most jealously guarded mysteries of the cosmos, to dissect the very fabric of reality, to seize control of primordial forces that lay far, far beyond the safe boundaries of human comprehension and ethical manipulation. Myths, fragmented and distorted as they are, whisper of clandestine rituals obsessively performed under the light-forsaken skies of moonless nights, of terrifyingly advanced experiments relentlessly conducted in vast, hidden chambers and subterranean laboratories, meticulously constructed beneath their sprawling, constellation-mirroring canal cities, all audaciously aimed at bending the immutable laws of nature, at warping the fundamental structure of reality itself to their increasingly megalomaniacal will. Some of the most disturbing, heavily suppressed legends even darkly suggest that the Aethelgardian elite, in their ultimate act of sacrilegious hubris, attempted to directly harness the immeasurable, terrifying power of Nyxandra herself, the veiled goddess of the deep, blasphemously seeking to steal her divine essence, to usurp her cosmic authority, and to forcibly assimilate her unimaginable energies for their own selfish aggrandizement, for the establishment of their absolute, unchallenged dominion over both the terrestrial and the celestial spheres, a sacrilege, if the legends are even remotely accurate, of almost cosmically catastrophic proportions. Dr. Thorne's increasingly nuanced, meticulously detailed interpretation of the fragmented, often contradictory Aethelgardian myths, and the perplexing array of archaeological anomalies unearthed from scattered sites around the globe, compellingly suggests that the legendary curse of Nyxandra was, in its terrifying essence, not merely a simplistic act of divine retribution, a capricious outburst of supernatural wrath, but a far more complex, far more disturbingly plausible, and ultimately far more relevant phenomenon. A catastrophic, civilization-ending interplay of self-inflicted ecological collapse and deeply ingrained societal decay. Tragically, retrospectively, and perhaps inevitably, viewed and narrativized through the culturally specific, mythologically rich lens of the Aethelgardians themselves, and the generations of terrified survivors and their descendants who inherited the shattered remnants of their once glorious legacy. The Aethelgardians' relentless, unchecked exploitation of the finite resources of their fragile island ecosystem and the surrounding ocean, Dr. Thorne argues, most plausibly led to a cascade of devastating, irreversible environmental consequences. Perhaps, in a terrifyingly ironic twist of fate, the very seas that had initially nurtured and sustained their civilization ultimately, inevitably turned against them, rising up in vengeful fury to reclaim what had been so carelessly, so arrogantly despoiled. Furthermore, their reckless, hubristic pursuit of forbidden, cosmically dangerous knowledge, their audacious, ultimately suicidal tampering with primordial forces they fundamentally, catastrophically failed to comprehend, might very well have inadvertently unleashed a series of unforeseen, exponentially escalating cataclysms, both natural and societal, a lethal feedback loop of environmental degradation, social unrest, and perhaps even, as the more esoteric legends hint, genuinely supernatural phenomena, all culminating in the kingdom's utter, irrevocable annihilation. The sudden, almost spectral vanishing of Aethelgard from the meticulously documented pages of history, therefore, may ultimately represent far less of a simplistic, sensational tale of a magically enacted curse, a vengeful goddess's instantaneous wrath, and far more of a profoundly relevant, disturbingly prescient cautionary narrative of collective societal self-destruction. The enduring, enigmatic curse of Nyxandra, in this more nuanced, historically informed interpretation, chillingly transcends mere supernatural agency, powerfully transforming into a timeless, universally applicable metaphor for the inevitable, utterly unforgiving repercussions of unchecked societal hubris, unsustainable ecological imbalance, and the persistently seductive, yet ultimately catastrophic, reckless pursuit of knowledge that lies fundamentally, dangerously beyond our limited capacity to ethically wield and responsibly comprehend. Aethelgard's tragic, almost unimaginable demise, etched in the fragmented echoes of myth and the silent ruins beneath the waves, serves as a profoundly unsettling, deeply impactful reminder that even the most technologically advanced, culturally sophisticated, and seemingly invincible civilizations are, in the final analysis, breathtakingly fragile. Their long-term fates inextricably, irrevocably intertwined with the delicate, ever-threatened balance of the natural world, and their continued survival utterly dependent upon the collective wisdom to respectfully acknowledge, to humbly learn from, and to fearfully honor the primordial forces that lie, vast and inscrutable, perpetually beyond the narrow confines of human control. The once magnificent kingdom of Aethelgard may be irretrievably lost to the crushing depths of the Great Southern Sea, its towering cities crumbled into silent, lightless ruins, its sophisticated culture reduced to fragmented whispers and undeciphered glyphs, but its haunting, cautionary story, its enduring, multifaceted enigma, chillingly, persistently continues to echo across the vast, indifferent expanse of time, a spectral warning carried on the relentless, unforgiving currents of history. The hushed, spectral whispers emanating from the submerged ruins of Aethelgard persist, resonating across the millennia, serving as a profoundly haunting, universally relevant parable for our increasingly precarious, globally interconnected modern age, a chilling, timeless reminder that the faint, often ignored echoes of forgotten civilizations can, if we dare to truly listen, still resonate with immeasurable, life-altering meaning, urgently compelling us to deeply, honestly reflect upon our own precarious trajectory, our own potentially catastrophic choices, our own dangerously escalating hubris. What ancient, perhaps long-forgotten pacts, both with nature and with each other, are we, in our relentless pursuit of progress and power, in imminent danger of irrevocably breaking? What veiled primordial goddesses, what elemental forces of cosmic balance might we, in our collective arrogance and technological intoxication, be recklessly provoking with our unsustainable, globally destructive modern-day hubris? The spectral, deeply unsettling story of Aethelgard, this phantom kingdom swallowed by the mists of time and the waves of the Great Southern Sea, relentlessly challenges each and every one of us to dare to gaze deeper, far beyond the deceptively placid, easily manipulated surface of conventional history, to bravely confront the uncomfortable truths lurking in the shadowy depths of our shared past, and, crucially, to finally, urgently heed the timeless, life-or-death lessons whispered to us, across the vast gulf of centuries, directly from the fathomless abyss. If the profoundly unsettling mystery of Aethelgard has resonated with you, if the spectral whispers of forgotten civilizations have ignited your curiosity and sparked a deeper contemplation of our shared human story, then we implore you to take action. Subscribe to our channel right now. ensuring that you won't miss our upcoming explorations into the darkest, most enigmatic shadows of history and mythology. And, crucially, share this video widely with your fellow seekers of ancient secrets, with those who dare to question the conventional narratives, with anyone who feels the chilling resonance of the past echoing in the present. Let us collectively keep the faint but vital whispers of forgotten civilizations alive, lest we too risk vanishing beneath the waves of time, leaving behind only silence and unanswered questions. What other lost kingdoms, what other cursed civilizations relentlessly intrigue you, haunt your imagination, and compel you to seek answers in the ruins of the past? Bravely, honestly, let us know your thoughts, your theories, your deepest questions in the comments section below. The search for truth, the unraveling of ancient enigmas, is a journey best undertaken together. The revelation, echoes of the curse. Aethelgard stood at the pinnacle of human achievement, a civilization unmatched, a people who had bent the secrets of the sea and stars to their will. But greatness has a price. As their dominion expanded, so did their arrogance. The laws that had once been sacred, the covenant with Nyxandra, the veiled goddess of the deep, became little more than an ancient superstition, a relic of a bygone era. The ocean, once revered as a sentient force, became a mere resource to be exploited. The Aethelgardians, once bound to the rhythms of nature, began to believe themselves above them. The signs of their fall were subtle at first. Artifacts from the later years of Aethelgard tell a chilling story. Their art, once dominated by fluid, celestial patterns, begins to shift. Rigid lines, harsh geometric shapes. The once benevolent Nyxandra is no longer depicted as a protector, but as something ominous, her veil darker, her presence colder. The stars that once guided their ships now seem to warn them. Something had changed. Legends, those that survived the erasure of Aethelgard's memory, whisper of a final transgression. A desperate attempt to take what had been forbidden since the dawn of time. Beneath the city, hidden within subterranean chambers, Aethelgard's greatest minds worked in secrecy. Scholars, alchemists, priests. Not to worship, but to control. They sought to penetrate the abyss itself. Ancient texts speak of experiments performed beneath the ocean floor. A ritual, or perhaps a machine, designed to extract power from the deep. Some say they sought to command the sea, to harness its fury as a weapon. Others believe they attempted to summon something that should have remained undisturbed. Whatever they did, it worked. And in the span of a single night, Aethelgard ceased to be. No survivors, no ruins, no remnants, nothing. The ocean took back what was stolen. But was it a divine punishment? A supernatural force restoring balance? Or did Aethelgard simply bring about its own destruction, triggering a disaster of their own making? Dr. Thorne believes that whatever happened was meant to be forgotten. That Aethelgard's fate was so catastrophic, so beyond human comprehension, that history itself was forced to erase them. And yet, the echoes remain. Deep-sea anomalies, unexplained glyphs found in cultures separated by vast distances, stories of cities swallowed overnight, repeated in the folklore of civilizations that should have never known of each other. Aethelgard's warning still lingers, a shadow in our collective memory, waiting to be uncovered. The final question is not what happened to them, but rather, could it happen again? If humanity is on the same path, expanding recklessly, seeking dominion over forces it barely understands, then perhaps the greatest mystery of Aethelgard is not how they fell, but whether we are next. So, what do you believe happened to Aethelgard? Were they victims of their own arrogance, destroyed by their reckless pursuit of forbidden knowledge? Or was something greater at play? A force beyond comprehension, a warning that history itself has tried to erase. And the real question is, why do these patterns keep repeating? Atlantis, Lemuria, the Indus Valley, the Minoans. Over and over, we find traces of great civilizations rising to power, only to vanish without explanation. We like to think we are different, that our technology, our knowledge, our dominance over the natural world makes us invincible. But what if Aethelgard was not just a story of the past? What if we are standing at the same precipice, pushing the limits of our world, seeking dominion over forces we don't fully understand? Are we blindly following in their footsteps, hurtling toward our own erasure? Maybe history isn't lost. Maybe it's been warning us all along. But the question remains, will we listen? Now, we want to hear from you. Do you believe Aethelgard was real? Was it erased by time, by disaster, or by something else? Leave your theories in the comments. The search for truth is a journey we must take together. And if you want to keep uncovering the secrets they don't want you to know, subscribe to Ancient Chronicles and turn on notifications. Because the past is not as dead as they want us to believe. The next mystery is already waiting.